OBR Live. Here today we're speaking with Mary, who's one of our OBR alumni. Hi Mary.
Hi.
So Mary, what's your current role at Mclaren Racing?
So I'm an operations graduate at Mclaren Racing.
Okay, and could you maybe take us through like your day-to-day there? What does it look like prior to COVID-19?
Well, it's quite hard to say what we do day to day just because everything changes constantly, everything's fluid, it's all, to me it's hectic, but what we do as the graduates is we rotate between different departments, and 6 months you're one place, 6 months you're another place. For my first 6 months I was in race team logistics and car build, and what they're kind of responsible for is shipping everything worldwide to all the tracks, all the races, bringing everything back for servicing. When it comes back, distributing it to the factory. So it's one day is not really easy to pin down because everything's different.
Okay, so that's quite similar to Formula Student then, I would presume, because everyone's also trying to learn as much as they can and going around different departments. What would you say is the biggest shock going from now Formula Student to McLaren?
I'm not sure. I think they're very similar, which I never thought would be the case. It's still a big race team. It's still, everyone's trying to, I don't really know how to answer that question.
Well, I mean, you were chief mechanic at OBR, and you obviously you had to involve yourself in everything in the car build, going on this rotational scheme at McLaren. It's all about learning and being able to adapt to all the different scenarios, right?
Yeah, so I guess it's because you're new, you're fresh out of university, you have all this knowledge, but sometimes you're not always sure where you want to go. The graduate scheme is quite good in the fact that you can experience, for me it was operations, so I could go around the planning department, the logistics department, quality, all things like that, because I wasn't quite sure. Some people are, I want to go into aerodynamics, I want to go into design, I want to do this, I want to do that, but the grad scheme is very good for that because you keep learning, and it also makes you become a well-rounded person in the factory because you understand other people's roles a bit more. Similar to Formula Student, I did powertrain to start with, kind of stuck with that for a bit too long, but then being chief mechanic you kind of sympathise with everything that always goes wrong and kind of having to deal with one department and another department. You're more well-rounded, understanding what they do. So I think it's quite similar in that way.
So would you say Formula Student prepared you pretty well, especially for the graduate program?
Oh yeah, for sure. And also the way that you interact with people. I think when some people come out of university, all they've done their whole life is kind of study and not really interact with a team in that way. And it's good for sports and as well. It's very similar, like you become very close to these people, you spend incredible amounts of time with these people that you become, I don't know, almost like family with them. And it's quite similar in Formula One as well. Everybody knows everybody.
So then transitioning to McLaren wasn't necessarily the biggest shock, and going into the graduate scheme you get to learn and stuff, but a big shock obviously is this pandemic now and COVID-19. I mean, apparently McLaren's going to lose around 1,200 employees, and about 70 of those in the motorsport, in the F1 team. Is there a worry for future graduates? Are you feeling the pressure? How's kind of McLaren adapting to it?
I think everyone's feeling the pressure, really. McLaren have handled the situation with regards to job loss very, very well. We have been kept up to date at kind of every step, and the executives have been doing everything they possibly can to not get to this point. But because this is going on for so long and we're not racing and there's so many factors involved that it has to come to that. I think with regards to future graduates, I don't think they have to worry as such. Now is a very different time to what everybody's used to, obviously. But I don't think people need to worry. There's always a need for graduates. Graduates are the future of companies. We're the future engineers. It may be difficult, maybe for the next year or so, but I don't think they need to worry in the long term.
All right. And so obviously the short term, as you said, I mean, it's different for everyone. And I don't think anyone could have imagined race teams to be manufacturing ventilators.
Yeah.
Are you personally involved in Project Pitlane and the ventilator challenge?
Yes. So when all Formula One shut down for the very start, I was off work for 2 weeks and then got the phone call asking if I wanted to volunteer to be a part of Project Pitlane. Obviously I said yes. And so I've been at work for a couple of months now, I'm not quite sure actually how long, purely working on the ventilator project. Mclaren's been quite a big part in actual ventilators themselves, so life support machines. And part of what we do is we make the trolleys that the ventilators go onto, and that's specifically racing. And we've got automotive making all these different kind of bits, and our manufacturing department, all our machines are running constantly, making all these parts. But what I've been doing specifically is on that, and the whole boulevard has been full with trolleys. Like, no one would believe Mclaren could turn into something like that, but it's been very good. I'm very glad that I could be a part of something like that.
And that's really rewarding to be able to focus all your efforts there. I mean, it's motorsport's obviously your passion, but do you feel the same thrill now that your team's doing such good for its communities?
Yeah, it's definitely very rewarding knowing that I'm in an industry that can adapt its day-to-day life to help the need of what's greatest. Like, we swapped race cars for ventilators in a heartbeat. It was a very quick turnaround for what we were doing. It was a bit of a struggle at the start because we're not made for mass production. We make not very many parts at one time. So this is a big change for us.
It's definitely quite a journey. I don't think you probably would have pictured yourself in this position, or anyone would have 5 years ago. We kind of all got that wrong.
Oh.
But your team started before Mclaren, before Formula Student, even in F1 in schools. Do you want to tell us a little bit about how that began? Where did your passion come from? So it really did start in, I'd say, probably high school or secondary school. Quite a lot of my family are involved in engineering and specifically motorsport and things like that. But when I got to school, there was this opportunity to join an F1 in schools team. I had no idea what it was. I had no idea what would become of it. But when I joined, I knew almost immediately it was something that I wanted to do. I loved being a part of the team. There was, I think it was 5 or 6 of us on the team. There wasn't very many, but we'd stay after school making the car. We'd go to these competitions. We went to London, we went to Birmingham. It was really good fun, and doing that I found out about Formula Student. I always knew I wanted to come to Brooks, but once I knew through F1 in schools what Formula Student was about, I found out about OBR, and that's why I kind of joined Formula Student. So it all kind of spiraled from there. Yeah. Oh, certainly. Geez. So with the F1 in schools, it was interesting. I saw on your Instagram about 6 months ago, Mclaren was doing the same thing. How does that kind of synergize? Is you're talking about the graduates saying that they don't really have anything to worry. It's the future of Mclaren. Is that where they're earmarking F1 in schools? So with F1 in schools and Mclaren, it was more, I was an alumni of F1 in schools. I go back and I judge for them at the nationals and the regionals, and I've done that for
4 or 5 years now. And then when I got the job at McLaren, it's a good way to get to let the kids kind of see that someone in their position a couple of years down the line can be working in a Formula One team, because you ask these kids what they want to do when they grow up and they'll say, oh, I want to work in Formula One, I want to be an engineer. So we kind of schemed this idea of McLaren making an F1 in schools car just to demonstrate at the competitions. It's designed, it's not made, because we unfortunately are going through this pandemic, and that's kind of what halted the whole project. But doing it with McLaren kind of opened up McLaren's eyes to F1 in schools. They've always been a part of it. They send their graduates to the engineering graduates to the world finals, and they get to do some judging and things like that. Yeah. And it's a really good opportunity for people in industry as well, yeah, to help out and to go and judge, whereas we were going to the national finals to judge and kind of talk about McLaren and show off our car, show how we would do it, and maybe kind of give them some ideas, or maybe they give us some ideas, because those kids are.
So it's definitely becoming a big role model, especially for children. And I mean, for you especially, you must be an amazing role model to young girls wanting to be in motorsports, or something that's kind of historically been considered a boys' subject, you know. What's kind of your feelings with that? Do you think it's hard for girls, especially in school, to kind of challenge that norm? How was it for you?
I think it's a very difficult question, because it's got a lot better over the years. When I started, there was only me doing engineering at high school. There wasn't very many girls in F1 in schools. There's kind of a bit of a stigmatism, but it was never with the boys who would laugh at you. It would never be the guys who would be, oh, you shouldn't do this or that. It was the girls, which I think that kind of made it worse, was people who I would consider friends would be saying, oh, you're doing this for attention, you just want to be around the boys. And it's like, well, not really, but it puts you off doing it because they're your friends. But when I got to university, it was very, very different, because they didn't really care. They were like, if you want to be a part of it, doesn't matter if you're male, female, anything you want to be, it's just so long as you're willing to put the effort in, you can do it. But there still is the issue with young girls not feeling like they're capable enough to do it, and it's still really sad to see, which is again why I do all of going back to F1 in schools, like doing as much as I can to kind of show them that it doesn't matter what people say to you, so long as you kind of follow what you want, you know what you want in your heart and your head, and you just go for it. Yeah.
Or they couldn't have a better role model than someone like you. And I mean, there's an increasing amount of girls in STEM, which it's really great to see. And you said it comes down to the sense of community and your friends. In OBR, one of your best friends, I believe, is Alex Garcia. He was in my position last year as business development lead.
Yeah.
And he's at Mercedes AMG high performance powertrains now. Is there a sense of community in Formula One? I mean, you're like Formula 2 and you're competing against friends that are like family. How does it feel in the environment?
It's still quite unbelievable to know that, first of all, my best friend is working at Mercedes, my other friends are at Williams, Ferrari, Renault, Force India, Racing Point. Yeah, it's still, we all talk about it, like we can't really talk specifics about work, but it's still incredible to know that you're competing against your friends, and to know that we've got there the same way. So we all went to former student, we were all part of OBR, and then we all graduated into this industry, this massive industry that is very difficult to get into, but knowing that our experience through Formula Student kind of helped us get there.
Yeah.
But it's incredible.
So you haven't lost touch with them, and you still feel that it's a warm community.
Yeah, for sure. Like, we all keep in contact. We all message each other all the time. You make your friends at university, but OBR is more of a family. So you may not talk to them for a few months, but as soon as you speak to them, it's like nothing has ever changed. Yeah. And you meet up and go to the pub and then get up to the same antics that you used to. It's just nothing changes.
So in OBR, I mean, at the end of the day, it's about the competition and innovative tech and being part of something, important. We're told that you kind of were in charge of engines for a long time at OBR, more than you potentially would like to admit. How is that for you?
Yeah, well, I love doing it. Don't get me wrong. It was brilliant. I learned so much through doing it. But as everybody who does Formula Student knows, if something's going to go wrong, it's probably the engine that's wrong or something to do with it. So nothing's ever fun in that kind of department, especially when you're using a bike engine in a car and it's not meant to be used that way, and you make all these modifications and it can be a nightmare. Yeah. But it was also incredible.
Luckily we don't have that problem anymore. We're going electric. What's your feelings towards that? It's sad now that you'd invested so much time with the engines, or is it exciting for you?
It's a little bit sad because we did put so much effort in, but at the same time, that's the way the future's going. And Formula Student, again, we turned electric and then we're turning autonomous. OBR's got an autonomous team and an electric team. We had a combustion team. The point of Formula Student is to mould their graduates to the future, and if the future is turning electric and driverless, that's the way that we should go. So it's a little bit sad. Kind of glad I'm not a part of it because I'd probably electrocute myself. But
we're much more prepared for that now.
Yeah.
But we hear you're converting one of your cars to electric apparently. I'm sure that's quite a challenge. Is that the same challenge you think we'd be experiencing now with our shift?
Well, I think yours would be a lot easier, let's put it that way. No, it was more of an idea. I've got a little old classic car that we kind of had the idea of to electrify it because we had some interest in that. Wow. It will probably be the first car of its type to be electric. I'm not sure. It's probably a lot easier for you guys to do it. But after coming back to a few alumni reviews and some pub trips, meeting all of you guys, you definitely would have absolutely smashed it if you were able to compete this year.
Well,
for sure.
Good luck with that. So you said some pub trips and OBR. I mean, at the end of the day, it's not all about the design and manufacturing. Have you got any funny stories from OBR you want to share?
Well, probably not that I can say here. That would get me into a lot of trouble. So I'm just going to say that it's a lot of fun. Competitions are fun, especially the after party. But yeah, I don't think I could say some of them.
That's fine. What about a favorite memory from OBR? Because you're in the team for quite some time. You must have, or a couple that really are close to you.
That one's a difficult one. It's very easy to say, oh, there's so many memories, I can't think of one, but I really can't. Being in the team for so long, you meet so many different people every year. I have so many memories with everyone. I don't know I would not know where to begin. It's just so many good memories. There's a lot of not bad memories, but hard memories as well. Like OBR, not just OBR, but Formula Student, it is hard. You put in so much effort and so much time and so much of your degree that there's just so much emotion, and when you finish the endurance event, you cry because you're just so happy. Everyone in the team was just crying at Silverstone last year when we crossed the line, because we didn't think we were going to. But then when we failed endurance at Austria, we were crying. It's just, the emotions are just everywhere. It's just too many memories, too many.
But it's worth it.
Oh yeah, it's worth it.
I mean, and I'm sure it was definitely worth it when you first stepped foot at McLaren. How is that feeling for you?
That I still don't quite believe that it's real, because for me, well, what they call people like me is a bobble hat. If you're a fan of Formula One and McLaren, they call you a bobble hat. But I very much am, and I love everything. They'll fire up some of the historic cars inside about 10 meters from my desk, and I'm just in awe of it. And when you come up the lift on your first day and you just come up into the boulevard and you see all these cars, it's just incredible.
Wow. So
I'm probably going to wake up and I'm going to be back in my horrible room at uni, and it's all going to be a dream. I'm like, oh, brilliant.
You'll be back.
Yeah.
So what would you, if you had to pick 3 words to describe McLaren's culture, what would be the first that come to mind?
Friendly is the first one.
Oh.
Yeah, the culture now apparently has changed very much from what it used to be. Obviously I wasn't a part of that, but all the executives and everyone who's involved, they've made it a very friendly environment to be in. You feel very welcomed as soon as you step foot into the building, like you feel a part of the team. I think intelligent as well, because some of these people walking around they're very smart.
Nice.
Yeah, and I think just happy. Everyone's happy. There's not really a person at McLaren who I've met that's grumpy. You usually get the odd grumpy one, but I've not seen very many of those.
I don't think you could have better words to describe a big corporate. Anything else you want to say? What's kind of your plans going forward? You're continuing working with the ventilator challenge. You're coming. Your graduate scheme is ending soon. What's kind of your plans going forward?
So the ventilator project is going to finish in the next week, and then as of Monday, the whole of the racing department is not the whole of it. A lot of people are working from home, but we're going to start phasing in, going back to working with Formula One. I think we're going to have a little bit of time off, just for maybe a few days to recover from all of this long hours and kind of things like that. I'm not sure what happens after my grad scheme. Obviously, I'd love to stay at McLaren. Usually the grads stay on. Just find the right department for me, I guess.
Nice. Well, that's really exciting, and it's so nice to virtually meet you. I wish it could be under better circumstances, but chatting to you and just kind of hearing about your journey, it's really inspiring. And we're so proud of you at OBR. I think everyone just talks about you all the time. So we're definitely missing you, but we're so proud, and we're proud that we can go out and be alumni of the same team that we all have kind of grown to love. So thank you, and we'll chat to you, and we'll keep following you and Mclaren Racing, of course. And yeah.
Yeah, it's nice to meet you.
Yeah.